Hello, 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 hello. This is V Scott. So I was doing a live earlier. I realized that you all couldn't hear me, so I had to end that live. So my Black History Ballerina live is me reading a book by Misty Copeland, where she is honoring, paying homage to Black ballerinas that came before her that um, that's done things in history, So we said Black History, right? Hey, how you doing, Flojo? Happy New Year's to you as well. I'm happy to see you. I'm doing a Black History live on Black ballerinas. So I'm reading a book by Misty Copeland, and I'm going to go ahead and read her introduction. Misty Copeland was 17 years old the first time she saw a black ballerina grace the cover of a magazine. The ballerina was Houston ballet principal dancer Lauren Anderson. Seeing someone who looked like her had a profound impact on Misty as it confirmed for her that she was not alone or the only. Misty was 28 years old and a soloist at American Ballet Theater, ABT, that's it shortened up. When she first learned about ballet pioneer Raven Wilkinson, this introduction and later their deep friendship were the motivation and support Misty needed to become the first female African American principal dancer at ABT on her way to becoming a trailblazer and dance icon in her own right. She has long recognized and embraced her responsibility to make sure the stories of women who paved the way to make her success possible are not forgotten. While certainly not an exhaustive list, this beautiful book is a celebration of 27 dancers of color who have influenced Misty on and off stage in order to share their legacies with future generations. Oh Lord. So so the first one is Lauren Anderson. And here's her quote. A quote by Lauren Anderson. What's wonderful about being a ballerina is being able to tell a story without saying a single word. Lauren Anderson was born in 1965. So these are Misty Copeland words that I'm reading. This is V. Scott. I'm reading Misty Copeland's book, and these are her experiences that I'm reading. So I'm reading this. These are her words and her experiences, not mine. When she talked about her experiences, but there's also history in here for these ladies. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna read it, and I hope you enjoy it. I will not be reading the whole all 27 ladies today. I'm not. I don't have a number, but I know it won't be 27. It'll be a few, but not the whole 27. Let me just go ahead and start up. Lauren Anderson, born 1965. I can draw a direct line from Lauren Anderson to my own existence of as a black ballerina. I was 17 years old the first time I saw Lauren when she graced the cover of Dance magazine in 1999. I was stopped dead in my tracks. Her dark hue skin illuminated the page and filled me with immense pride. I think the impact of her image on me was more than I could comprehend at the time. Because of mainstream standards of beauty and the weight associated with being a dark skinned woman in our society, it was an anomaly to see her beauty in all its glory, representing the very white, exclusive world. With all the excitement I felt at the same time, it hit me that I had been missing an important piece of classical ballet history. A pre-professional ballet student, as a pre-professional ballet student, I had never before seen a black ballerina on the cover of a dance publication, and it would change everything for me. Lauren has been a mentor and friend of mine since we met while American Ballet Theater, shortened up to ABT, was touring through Texas in 2016. Excuse me, 2006. The same year, Lauren retired from the stage with all of the beautiful experiences we've shared over the years. The most incredible was in June 2015 when Lauren presented me with flowers during my bows at the Metropolitan Opera House after my New York City debut as the lead in Swan Lake. I was overwhelmed with love, support, and the significance of that historical moment. Lauren was the first black ballerina to dance the lead in Swan Lake with the Houston Ballet, and that moment on the Met stage was passing on the torch to me, the first black ballerina to dance the lead in Swan Lake with ABT, American Ballet Theater. Lauren's journey in the ballet world began at Houston Ballet Academy, where her mother took her to see Dance Theater of Harlem. Lauren was inspired by the first black ballerina she ever saw perform, Virginia Johnson. Another turning point in her life occurred when Ben Stevenson, Lauren's mentor and then artistic director of Houston Ballet, cast her in the lead role in Alice Adventures in Wonderland. When Lauren asked him why she had been chosen for the role that had traditionally gone to white ballerinas, he answered, "Darling, you're a dancer. Dancers dance. The only color in art is on the canvas." Lauren danced with the Houston Ballet from 1983 to 2006. In 1999, Lauren became the first African American to be promoted to principal dancer at the Houston Ballet, but her groundbreaking success wasn't universally accepted. Lauren found out years later that the company had shielded her as much as possible from racist remarks, hate mail, and even death threats. That's awful. And in her current role as program manager in the Houston Ballet Education and Community Engagement Program, she is helping create more firsts like our rep, respect. Oh, I couldn't say that. Uh, like our respective Swan Lake performance, because she knows how critical they are for sparkling change. Lauren's perseverance and success have profoundly impacted me. I believe it is so important to support one another as we embark on our individual journeys, because we are all working to create a brighter future for the next generation. And Lauren has done and continues to do that in a multitude of ways. Hello, hello, Valinka, Rosanna, hello, how are you? Thank you for coming. I am reading a book by Misty Copeland. She is paying homage to black ballerinas. She is also a black ballerina that has made history. And so I was just reading on Lauren Anderson, who is a black ballerina. She was one of the first to, you know, to do it. What was it? She was one of the first. And when Misty Copeland seen her on the cover of Dance Magazine, and so thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you being here. And now we will be reading. I will be reading about Asia Ash. She was born in 1977. I became aware of Asia Ash in 2000, my senior year of high school. She was the dancing double for actress Zoe Saldana. 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 I'm sure I said the name wrong, so please forgive me. In the movie Center Stage. 5 years my senior and dancing for New York City Ballet. She was the she was the epitome of beauty, grace, and strength in my eyes. Not until Asia left NYCB after 8 years with the company would I learn of all her struggles as a black ballerina, struggles that I would also face in my career. We were we were each the only black woman in our respective ballet companies for a significant number of years. The weight of the reality, along with the lack of support and understanding that often comes with being the only, left space for doubt to creep in. Microaggression, like coded language about our black bodies being distraction on stage and not having the right shades of makeup available, were never hard to decipher, nor did their subtle make them hurt any less. These veiled comments and slights can easily chip away at one's identity and self-worth. A common experience among black ballerinas after leaving NYCB in 2003, Asia joined Beja Ballet, Louisiana, and Switzerland as a soloist. 2 years later, she joined Alonzo King Lions Ballet in San Francisco and then toured with Morphosis, the wielding company between 2007 and 2008. Eventually, all the traumas Asia endured over the years about her race took their toll, pushing her to almost say goodbye to the dance world altogether. However, Asia crafted a second act for herself in which she was able to approach dance on her own terms. In 2011, she channeled her experiences into creating the Swan Dreams project using ballet and photography as a way to combat stereotypes and objectification of black women in ballet. Hello, Leonard Grillo. Hello. Okay. Growing up in Rochester, New York, Asia hadn't seen black ballerinas. She remembers how she felt when, after starting at NYCB School of American Ballet, and it's shortened up to SAB, that stands for School of American Ballet, if you hear me say SAB or SAB, she saw a photo of ballerina Andrea or Andrea, however you want to say it, I'm not sure, Long Nadu, who danced with NYCB and Dance Theater of Harlem. Seeing the photo of a successful black ballerina gave her hope. And through the Swan Dreams project, she wants to make sure aspiring dancers of color knows they belong in these spaces too. Asia with her with a performance, resilience, and stamina had another trick up her sleeve for her third act. When George Ballerina founded NYCB in 1948, he implemented a system that relied on students from the school and dancers from the company to eventually return as teachers and staff. However, this opportunity was rarely extended to its few Black alumni. Over 6 decades later, in a full circle move back to her old stomping grounds to NYCB, Asia made history when she became the first Black female member of Saab's permanent faculty in their 86 86-year history. The opportunity for her not only to pass her immense knowledge and experience to the next generation of dancers, but also to serve as a role model and mentor to Black and brown ballerinas in is a huge deal and a step in the right direction for inclusion and representation in ballet. So that was on Asia Ash. Now we're gonna now Misty Copeland is talking about Deborah. Deborah Austin. Deborah Austin was born in 1955. In 1982, the same year that I was born, not me, Misty Copeland, was born in 1982. I was born 10 years before. So, okay, let's get back at it. In 1982, the same year I was born, Deborah Austin rose to prominence as the first Black woman to be promoted to principal ballerina with the Pennsylvania Ballet. After I joined American Ballet Theater, I began to understand the difficulties of being a Black woman in a ballet company with predominantly white dancers, but it would be some time before I learned about Deborah's experience of being the first and could more intimately relate to both her struggle and triumphs. Deborah, Deborah's first ballet teacher told her parents she had no talent. She was 9 years old, and the negative feedback led her parents to seek ballet lessons elsewhere. They took her to Christine Newbert's Children's Ballet Theater in New York, where she was taught by Barbara Walzak, a former soloist with New York City's ballet. Seeing Deborah's gift for dance, Barbara connected Deborah with Diana Adams, then director of the School of American Ballet. Deborah joined Saab at age 12 with a full Ford Foundation scholarship. While this was huge for Deborah and her dancing career, someone recognizing your talent and potential doesn't necessarily change the obstacle of race in ballet. At 14, she was told NYCB was out of her reach because she wouldn't blend into the corpse de ballet for Swan Lake. This awful blending euphemism, I'm sure I said that wrong, and other coded language are used to communicate that our Black and brown bodies don't belong in classical ballet, and sadly, it's something that Black and brown ballerinas are still dealing with today. But instead of giving up, Deborah pressed on, and George Ballerina, influential choreographer and co-founder of NYCB, took notice of Deborah when he saw her dance in class. In 1971, 16-year-old Deborah was invited to join the company by Balanchine himself, making her the first African American woman hired into NYCB. There, Deborah danced numerous principal roles, including in Ballo della Regina, for which Balanchine created a solo for her. After 9 years with NYCB, Deborah went on to dance principal roles with Zurich Ballet in Switzerland and toured throughout Europe. When Deborah returned to the States, she made history as the first black principal female dancer at the Pennsylvania Ballet. But even in her new position, Deborah still encountered people who doubted her after she was cast as the sylph in La Sylphide. Someone staging the ballet questioned the decision, stating that she had never seen a black sylph, given that sylph is a mythological fairy tale, mythological fairy-like creature. The artistic director challenged the stager, and replied, "Have you ever seen a sylph before?" Deborah, Deborah started. Deborah stared doubt right in the eye and said, "I deserve to be here." She faced barricades. I'm so sorry. Historical barricades with the courage to be the first, carving out a trailblazing career that set the bar for us all. I know my reading is just a little off right now, and I'm so sorry. But I'm gonna keep on reading. If you're okay with it, stay. If you're not okay with it, I understand. If you leave, it's your choice. But I'm gonna keep on reading about these black ballerinas. Oh, I didn't tell you Deborah Ash's quote, and I didn't tell you Asia Ash quote either. So Asia Ash quote was the saying, "Never give up where you came." The saying, "Never give up where you came from," was something that was taught to me as a very young girl, and I carry these words like a badge of honor. So that was Asia Ash's quote that I forgot to read. I'm so sorry. Now I'm gonna read Deborah Austin's quote. I knew when I was 10 years old that this is where I want this is where I want to be. This is where I want to go. And this is my dream. So she knew when she was 10, this is what she wanted to do, right? Now, we're going on to Joanne Myers Brown, and her quote is, "You fall in love with it. Your body falls in love with it." She was born in 1931, Joanne Myers. One of the most common excuses I have heard throughout my career as to why there is such a lack of diversity in ballet is that schools and companies don't know where to find dancers of color. Joanne Myers Brown took matters into her own hands and addressed that problem head on. Too often, when people speak of diversity in ballet, they are just focused on the stage. So much of my strength and will to be my best has come from a sense of support I felt by seeing representation all around me. We need more black and brown dancers on the stage, but we also need more black and brown teachers, stage hands, costumers, and makeup artists in major ballet companies. This would go a long way toward creating supportive and sensitive environment for dancers of color. And Joanne did just that, creating and building dance organization that has trained and nurtured generations of black and brown dancers. Joanne discovered ballet in high school, but racial discrimination kept her from being able to join ballet classes. She sought the black ballet teacher, giving black children opportunities to learn ballet, going on to study with S.A. Marie Dosset, and then later with Marion Couillet and Sidney King. Marion Couillet became a huge influence on Joanne, with the two with the two forming a relationship that would span decades. Joanne also studied with Anthony Tudor, who taught at Philadelphia Ballet Guild, a dancer and choreographer. He became an ally for black dancers during that time. When she when the students, when the students learned the Sleeping Beauty, the white dancers refused to partner Joanne. Mr. Tudor partnered her himself. The example he set for Joanne motivated her to go on to provide training for more black dancers, because opportunities for black ballerinas to dance in ballet companies were limited. Joanne was eventually forced to pivot. She danced in nightclub tours for several years on Pointe and Hills, where she was often the only black dancer in the show. Eventually, Joanne returned to Philadelphia, determined to give young people the same opportunities she had not been given. In 1960, she founded the Philadelphia School of Dance Arts. As Joanne grew her school, her former teacher, Marion Couget, became a mentor and teacher to her in a new way. But when Joanne's students got older, they couldn't find work with dance companies in Philadelphia, so Joanne helped found the Philadelphia Dance Company. Phila, what? Oh, I guess to say Philadelphia. So Philadelphia in 1970. So those aspiring dancers wouldn't have to abandon their dreams of becoming professional ballet dancers. In 1988, she helped form the International Association of Black in Dance, address the lack of opportunities, funding, and touring for black companies, and empowering to see my community create opportunities for itself. Because of Joanne, we have hope, giving the black community a space to thrive, and the broader dance world the platform to find us. Joanne's passion is creating opportunity for black children because of her own experience of having other black women generate support and opportunity for her. Joanne is a Philly legend, not just for her dancing, but for her unbelievable leadership and carrying on the teaching of two icons, Sidney King and Marion Couget. I'm not sure if I have said that name right, but that's who I'm talking about. Um, hello to you in here. I can't pronounce your name, but thank you for coming. And the next one that I'll be reading that's in here, the next black ballerina is Dolores Brown. Her quote is, "One of the things I loved very much was learning a language. Dolores Brown, born 1935. Dolores Brown's passion for ballet is what really drew me to her and her journey. In Dolores, I found a kindred, bun-head spirit with a love of all things ballet and natural affinity for performing. We were one of the same. Dolores' mental strength, discipline, and dedication were all traits I recognized in myself. While ballet has not always been welcoming to black and brown dancers, I've also heard the falsehood that we as black people have made the choice not to engage with it. In contrast, Dolores showed me that it was only for a brown girl to have an enthusiastic devotion to the art form. That devotion started for Dolores at a young age. She was a big fan of actress and dancer Sid Caris, and seeing Sid dance in Ponte inspired Dolores to want to do the same. But when she tried to enroll in ballet classes in Philadelphia, she was always put on the waiting list. Her mother shielded Dolores from knowing that she was not getting into schools because of racial discrimination. Eventually, Dolores joined the ballet club in school, and at 14, she was offered a scholarship to Judah School run by former dancer Marianne Couget. Marianne, a fair-skinned black woman, to Judy I'm sorry, dreamed of producing the first Black American ballerina. She recognized Dolores' gift for dance, and Dolores quickly became the star ballerina of Judamar. One summer, Marion registered Dolores and other students for classes at Ballet Arts Carnegie Hall, but when she went to sign in, Dolores was told there must have been a mistake and she was declined admissions. She was, oh my goodness. Dolores stood up for herself and insisted that she either get to take the class or get her money back. She was eventually admitted, and Dolores became one of the first black dancers to ever study ballet arts at 17. Oh, Dolores successfully auditioned for the New York City Ballet School of American Ballet as one of the only students of color, quickly realizing she would likely never be asked to join the company. Dolores left Saab after only 1 year. Back home, Dolores finally got her big dream, or her big break, when she was offered a contract with Ballet Americana, a company of black dancers. It was the opportunity of a lifetime when they went on tour in Europe. They were renamed the New York Negro Ballet because the tour promoter wanted audiences to know it was a black company. As a soloist and principal dancer, Dolores danced in the Bluebird Pas de Dorks. I'm saying some of these names wrong, but understand me. In the Sleeping Beauty, and performed in the other ballet on tour, and performed in other ballets on tour. I'm gonna keep reading. After the ballet company's patron passed unexpectedly, and The original company dissolved. Companies back home would not hire Dolores. Discouraged, she stopped dancing, but one phone call brought Dolores back. John Jones, whom she had partnered with previously, was curating concert for the Lincoln Center Library Theater and invited her to perform with him as his partner after years of trying to prove herself to the institution of ballet. It was her Philadelphia family and black ballet community that gave her an amazing second act. After the concert, the offers flooded in, and she went on to perform the Alicia Alonso Ballet Company. She went on to perform with the Alicia Alonso Ballet Company. Dolores eventually became director of the Alley School Scholarship Program in the 1970s and taught classes there and at Joanne Myers Brown's Philadelphia, the Philadelphia company, and it's Philadelphia, okay, Philadelphia. That's how it's pronounced. Although Dolores didn't get to have a career she deserved because the color of her skin, her passion for both ballet and her community has opened up doors and laid the foundation for me and so many others to thrive. She is a voice for change in ballet through her teaching, commitment, and love for giving back. Every part of Dolores' journey has made it that much easier for me to become a principal dancer. She is an American ballet pioneer. So that was um, about Dolores Brown. Like I told you, this is a Black Ballerina book by Misty Copeland. And so she is talking about different Black ballerinas and their experience and how their experiences has shaped and molded her as a Black ballerina and some of the things that she has experienced as a Black ballerina as well is what this book is about. And I thought it would be actually a pretty interesting read. And I wanted to come and share this with you all. So it's 27 dancers in here. Like I told you, I wouldn't be sharing all 27. I'm trying to see how many have I read. I think I've read about 5 of them already. Let me go ahead and count the pages on how many I've read. Okay, and then I'll see how much further I go. So that's Lauren Anderson. That's one. We did Lauren Anderson. Asia Ashes two. That we did that one. 3, Deborah Austin. 4, Joe and Joy Myers. Yes. Yes, we did now. And then 5 was Dolores Brown. 5 is Dolores Brown. Now, this is going to be our last one. And I actually did a video on this particular ballerina, I do believe. I did Janet Collins. And we're going on. This is going to be the last one I read. Now, forgive me if I mess up some words. And because some of these ballet companies, I think they're in French or something, baby. I can't pronounce it. But I'm going to still keep on trying. You can laugh at me for trying to pronounce it. And you can laugh at my reading. But we're here to learn. You know what I mean? And so I'm here teaching you some history about Black ballerinas. It's not here to judge. You're not here to judge me or how I'm reading this. You're here to learn something. So if you're not here to learn something, if you're here to be judgmental, we don't need you here. I'm just being honest, okay? Okay, so I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm being honest. So if you're here because you want to learn something, you want to know, get some history about these people that I'm telling you about, welcome. But if you're here to act like somebody that's not here to listen in for this, goodbye. So this will be the last reading I do out of this book on Black Ballerinas, My Journey to Our Legacy. This is a book by Misty Copeland, and she is telling you about other Black ballerina stories and how they shaped and molded her and the way their stories helped her as a Black ballerina. Hello, who is that? Generation X Podcast Network. Hi, how are you? Thank you for being here. I appreciate you coming. So, Janet Collins, 1917 to 2003. One evening in the summer of 2013, I was preparing to make my debut as the queen of the Dryads in Don Cortex at the Metropolitan Opera House. As I worked to calm and focus my mind before the show, I caught a reflection of myself in the mirror and was struck by the familiarity of what I saw. In that moment, I saw how my own image was almost identical copy of a photo of Janet Collins in her dressing room at the Met decades earlier. From our skin tones to the shape of our foreheads and the tight buns on top of our heads, and even the bouquets and flowers surrounding us in our dressing rooms. By this time, I had already begun my personal mission to research the Black ballerinas who had come before me, and Janet was one of the first on my list. As the first Black ballerina to perform with the Metropolitan Opera on the Met stage, she had entered one of the most exclusive clubs that any dancer, let alone a Black dancer, could join. I have an overwhelming sense of pride that I'm now part of that group. In that brief moment before the biggest debut in my life, up to that point, Janet Collins reminded me that I belonged. Joining the classical ballet world was no easy feature for Janet. As a little girl, she wanted to study one of the more prominent ballet schools. She wanted to study at one of the more prominent ballet schools in Los Angeles, but was turned away because of her race. Despite this setback, Janet persevered, eventually taking private lessons. As a teenager in the 1930s, she auditioned for the Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo. However, racial segregation in the South kept Black dancers from sharing the stage with white dancers on tour. The director said if he hired her, she would have to paint her skin white to blend in with the other dancers on stage. Disgusting, disguising the fact she was Black. But Janet declined. After this heartbreaking setback, Janet, like many other Black and brown dancers, was forced to pivot into theatrical dancing, where she thrived. She won Donaldson Award for her performance on Broadway in the production of Cole Porter's musical Out of This World. After her win, Janet made history when she became the first black principal ballerina hired by the Met on November 13, 1951. She performed at Met until 1954, dancing lead roles in operas such as Ada and Carmen. After she left the Met, she went on touring choreographed, choreographed choreographed shows. Excuse my, y'all know what I mean. She was a choreographer for shows. Okay, I can't get the words together right now. And taught dance at several institutions, inspiring a new generation of dancers. Our debuts at Met being separated by over 60 years makes me think about the progress made in ballet since Janet's debut, as well as how much further we still have to go. Even now, black and brown ballerinas are being asked to try to blend in with their mainly white colleagues, something I myself have been asked to do in the past. I danced in honor of trailblazers like Janet, who faced the ugliness of racism head on, who were asked to deny who they were just to continue dancing. Janet opened up the door so that many more black and brown ballerinas like me might also have the opportunity to see their faces in a Metropolitan Opera House dressing room mirror. Yes. Oh, okay. I'm glad you're good. Oh, that's you said get someone to block those bots. Oh, that's who those. That's who what that is. I don't have any. I don't think I had any. What you call them in here? The blue things when they had the blue handles. I don't think any of them in here because the people I don't see them in here, and I barely come on live. I decided to come on live today, um, but I will be. This was actually my last person I was going to read. Yeah, this is my last person I'm going to read out of the Black Ballerinas, My Journey to Our Legacy. So this was my Black History Live for the Black Ballerinas. I read, I believe, 5 of them, and I want to thank you all for coming. I want to thank you all for listening, and hit the like button. You know, if you want to, well, hit the like button, share, definitely comment once you leave out of here. And I thank you for leaving messages on the inside of here. So thank you for coming and listening to my Black History Live on Ballerinas, Misty Copeland's book. Have a great one.